Honored this morning to welcome everyone to the ribbon cutting and christening for our new Joel S. Rankin Outpatient Maternal Care Unit at Beautiful Beginnings. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve Solano. I've been the chair of OBGYN here at Metrowest since 2015. And I'm very excited here today to discuss our new MCU, our Maternal Care Unit, but really an honor to discuss who we're dedicating our new space to. Our new MCU will serve to extend the blueprint of our current birth space, providing a variety of urgent and emergent OB services to women 20 weeks or greater. Our maternal care unit comprises a 16,000 square foot expansion for our department, including 4 treatment rooms and a nursing station for any patients that present with urgent or emergent pregnancy-related conditions. My thanks to really everyone who's standing around, our executive team for their commitment and support to the department as we've grown steadily from 2015 to present. Really, IT, facilities, everyone who's been seeing me walk through this hallway, Steve Barletti, who's every time I see him, I said, "This has got to be ready for today." So, and it looks beautiful today. So, my thanks to everyone who's really supported the department and opening this unit. We are now really proud to be a steady 1,000 or greater delivery birthing center. Last year we did 1090 deliveries, so that puts us about the size of a Milford or a Cape Cod or a Brockton hospital. So, really proud of that accomplishment over a short 5-year period. So shifting gears, I'm really honored to be one of 4 people speaking to you today about the physician to whom we dedicate the unit, Dr. Joel Sender Rankin. Dr. Rankin's service to Metrowest spans 43 years. It's longer than I've been alive. Joel's a Massachusetts native. He was born in Brockton. He completed his undergraduate at Yale and then went on to receive his medical degree from the BU School of Medicine, and then completed his residency at Boston City. He then served our military for 2 years in the Air Force in California, and then completed a fellowship in reproductive endocrinology and infertility. I'm not going to say it. After spending 3 years in Cleveland, another 6 back in Boston, he actually was served as the co-chair at Boston City in the BU School of Medicine. And then his CV outlines that he spent like 6 to 8 months as a consultant here for some purpose, from December of 74 to June of 75. And then shortly to follow, he became the chair of the department in July of 1975 and served in that role for 21 years. He remained active on the medical staff under 5 chairs to follow: Howard Blanchette, Henry Clapholtz, Edmund Jacobson, Adam Murato, and myself. It's also my understanding that Dr. Rankin spearheaded the perinatology and GYN oncology divisions here at Metro West. So when I came on as chair, one of the first things I did was I met with all providers to kind of do one-to-ones to kind of get to know everyone, to see what do people need, what can I do to help facilitate the department. And one of the first meetings I had was with Joel. And I was sitting there, I remember I was taking notes, and he sat down, and the first thing he said to me, it was actually right after a department meeting, and he said, "Boy, do you have your work cut out for you." True statement. Over the time we worked together, Joel always served as a sounding board to me whenever I needed advice, has been a tremendous mentor. His work on securing nationally recognized Grand Round speakers for our department has been second to none, and his education of the medical students in frameworking our didactic lecture series has been incredible. He always receives, as Dr. Goldberg, who's not here, will attest, our Metro site always receives top scores from our BU Tufts and Tufts PA students, likely in no small part to Dr. Rankin's support of education. He is a tremendous leader, education, role model, and visionary for this department. I've spoken to several of Joel's colleagues who've worked with Joel clinically over the years, likely in a longer capacity than I have. So I would like to invite them also to say a few words, as well as Verna, who's going to come up and say a few words. But for me, I can think of no other department member who leads Metro West more than Dr. Joel Rankin. His contributions to the medical staff, hospital, and Department of OBGYN are unparalleled. I can think of no one better suited to receive this honor and dedication. Thank you, Dr. Verna,
Yeah.
please. I'll stand up.
Okay.
I'll be your cheerleader.
Oh, good. Well, I'm not Joel, but I'm very close to him and his wife, Verna. And I am delighted to be here. I welcome you all, and I hope it's a great morning. So these are Joel's remarks because he can't speak today, and I'm just delivering them. And I hope I do as good job in delivering as he did in writing them. It was 1974, and I was asked by Dr. Caesar Tedeschi to visit him at Framingham Hospital. At that time, I was a member of the Boston University School of Medicine faculty, and Framingham was an affiliate. Caesar was chairman of the Department of Pathology at Framingham and was one of the individuals responsible for making Framingham the wonderful teaching institution it is. When I caught up with Caesar, it was in a vacated former operating room, entirely empty, except for a desk in the middle of the room. And there sat Caesar, a wonderful, wizened Machiavellian type, reading away, his book illuminated by the big operating room lamp suspended from the ceiling. Oh, if only I had had an iPhone back then. Caesar's job was to help recruit me as the first chair of obstetrics and gynecology. Indeed, to my everlasting gratitude and fortune, he succeeded. His name should be familiar to most of you. The library was named for him. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that one day a unit in this institution would bear my name. I am so grateful to you, Steve, my department members, Ellen and others who have played a part. Never have I felt so honored, so humbled. With advancing years come infirmities and lots of negatives. But among the positives is what we have seen, learned, experienced through the decades. And wow, have we seen changes. In 1991, we moved into the present site. Before that, all the action was in the area now housed largely by administrative offices. Patients labored in one room, delivered in another, recovered in another, and then spent, if you can believe it, another 5 to 7 days or more in the hospital. Wow. All to be supplanted. Patients laboring and delivering in a single room, the so-called LDR concept. And guess what? Home in 24 to 48 hours. Labor. Who knew of the epidural back then? And practicing without the availability of ultrasound, markers of fetal distress or well-being, the RH baby. What did we do back then without laparoscopy? How about the assisted reproductive technologies, the then and now? But the one thing that has remained constant through all this time is the care, dedication, and expertise of our nurses and doctors. It is obvious throughout the institution, but no more so than in our Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Witness the ambiance, the clinical care, the content of both the clinical and administrative meetings. Our facility, although over 25 years old, seems to be in good shape. But under Steve's leadership, the great need for an outpatient unit has been impressed on tenet. It is a welcome and much needed addition in our mission to provide the best care possible for our patients. Although my days of active service to our department are over, my thoughts, mind, and heart will always be here. Indeed, I've always had a love affair with this institution. And in fact, as my wife and kids will attest, it has been my second home. My deepest appreciation for this honor, which has been bestowed on me. Oh.
Yeah. And he's noticeable.
Do you really need it?
I would like to have Dr. Kleppel come up and say a couple. Yep.
Can you hear me all right? I'm going to try to yell a little bit. My voice is not terrific. Thanks for just giving me the chance to say a few words. It's nice to be back here. When I first came as chair, I have to tell you, I had no idea what I was doing. I was a teacher, a residency director, a student teacher, and I thought I'd try being a chair, but it's not that easy. Steve found out. But the one thing that made it possible was Joel. Joel was really remarkable. It's hard to be an ex-chair and watch your successor come and be chair. When you're chair, you're the boss, and suddenly you're not. And I can imagine how difficult it must have been for him, but Joel was wonderful. And in fact, I remember he used to come into the office and sit down, kind of look at me and say, "Henry, I've been thinking." And I knew something was going on, but I also knew I was going to get some good advice, even before I had to ask for it. The other thing I also knew was his office was down the hall. That door was always open, always ready to give advice. And it was just a wonderful thing to know someone's on your side who'll help you out of almost every difficult spot. You know, being a chair is like being I was going to say, kindergarten teacher. It's not quite that bad. Not quite. But it's more like Congress, where every representative has their own constituency and their own needs and desires, and they're all kind of almost working against each other. And in the days when Joel was chair, there were essentially only private practitioners here. And so, quite frankly, practice has their own interests. Nowadays, people are employed, and I think it's a lot easier to be the boss when people are employed, although it's still not that easy. I'm not going to make your job seem that, but it's different. But in those days, everybody had and Joel knew how to get them all together. Joel knew how to get a group of very disparate people who really had essentially their own interests at heart in many ways, and he got them to make OBGYN their common interest and good patient care their common interest. He was on, when I came, Joel was on the quality assurance. Today's a big deal. We try to teach it in medical school. When I came here, it wasn't really in existence for the hospital the way it is now. Now it's run by the hospital, but Joel knew about this well before the hospital, and quality assurance in the department was first and foremost good patient care, good outcomes. He was on all our quality assurance committees when I came. He was an active participant, and he was fair. You know, he has a tremendous understanding of medicine, all those years of experience in teaching and his scientific background as an endocrinologist. He brought all that into play when it came to analyzing a case. So you were my role model as a chair, Joel, and I just want to say, I'm going to use a descriptive word. But it's a nice word. Joel, you're a real mensch. Thank you very much.
So I'd like to have Dr. Fader also come up. Thank you, Lou.
Thank you. My associates Harold and Sidney Ginsburg and I became members of the staff in 1975, and shortly thereafter Joel became the first full-time chief. And I believe before Joel came, the chiefs were rotating members of the department. So this was a big change. Now, Henry Klappholz and I both served under an entirely different kind of chief at the Beth Israel, who was a very intimidating chief, intimidating for the medical students, for the house staff, for the nurses, and for the attendings. And Joel was entirely different. He was welcoming. He was always seeking consensus. He was trying to ease misunderstandings. And his door was always open. Whenever you came there, you'd find a member of the department discussing a problem or reviewing the issues of a case or problems in the labor room that needed to be addressed. And Joel's approach was always to make things better. It was a pleasure to work with Joel, and for a couple of years I went with him to the executive committee, and he spoke for the interests of the department, addressing issues of anesthesia, pediatrics, night coverage, and eventually we got the duck in the box, which was a lot Joel's doing. The other thing that hasn't only briefly mentioned was the labor room was really reinvented by Joel and a group of members of our department, members of the administration, and members of the board to form the new labor room, which was quite an undertaking. And I remember here when we had the celebration and toured it, it was just a tremendous improvement. I also worked on the advisory committee with Joel, where we had one member of each group to discuss problems and to improve documentation, decision-making, and to help things become much smoother. The department really was quite collaborative in those days, and I think Joel was one of the reasons it worked so well. Joel was also very welcoming and nurturing for new members of the staff and the new residents. I think in many ways for most of us, he was kind of a father figure for the young attendings. I think for many of us, when Joel was the chief, this was a time when many of us were at the happiest phases of our life. And of course, the practice of OBGYN was much simpler then. And everyone was younger, and we were just trying to make a difference. Even after Joel was no longer chief, he continued to serve a meaningful role in the department, counseling the subsequent chiefs and helping the young attendings get started. And I'm happy now to play a part in honoring him for the naming of this unit.
Hi, Joel. So, I joined the Department of OBGYN in 1988. And as a part of getting privileges at this hospital, you had to meet with the chairman. So I made an appointment. I go upstairs to Joel's office. So it's a pretty good sized room. And what impressed me and also scared me was there were piles of journals. You could barely see him behind the journals and the papers and all that. So we sat down, he asked a bunch of questions and about my training and how I did and all of that. And then the barrage of medical questions started. So it felt like I was sitting at my boards, asking how do you use laser and what wattage do you use and which spot size do you use and so on. So initially I was scared of you. About 2-3 weeks later, I got to know you and I realized how nice and wonderful you have been and you are, and so brilliant you are. So you're always respected by your patients. Now I see some patients once in a while that have seen you they come in for pelvic pain, so they're moaning in pain and so on. And then it says, how's my Dr. Rankin? So, now for the past 22 years that you're the chairman and I was a part of it, I was present here. I enjoyed having you as a chairman. You always helped everyone as much as you could do, so it was wonderful to have you. And you have always been fair, calm, cool, and collected. So you're a gentle giant, basically. Yeah. We all unanimously agreed upon that naming this unit after you is the best choice. Thank you.
Oh, no.
You're not scared, right? I'm Debbie Durgan. I've been a nurse on this unit probably a couple years after you arrived. So I'm going to give you 45 years of credit doing the math because I'm giving you when you walked in with Caesar. So our decades of working with Dr. Rankin included an era where medicine had many group practices. Actually, we had 30 physicians, family practitioners, and there were obviously less rules and regulations, and it was a whole different era, as was mentioned. I don't even know if staying in the budget was a problem in those days. I don't remember doing budget reports, right? We welcome over 2,500 babies a year. We got it done safely. We had fun, and as always, the patient was our focus. I don't think there was a day in his 45 years that Dr. Rankin didn't come to this unit and loved what he did, and we loved having him here with us. What a blessing you are to us, so many families, and especially the families you helped to create. You always wore your tie and a nice long coat, white coat, a gentleman of that era. You drank a lot of Pepsi. Your desk was pretty cluttered. And you had a lot of brown bags on your desk, and we knew that wasn't really lunch. We knew when our meetings were over because you brought the food platters over to the unit to be shared by patients and staff. Education was obviously your priority, and everyone learned from you. And you brought us in the best brains to teach us and keep us updated. We and our patients all benefited from this. You helped us build the beautiful new unit. So those of you, haven't retired yet, this is the old unit. That will always be the new unit until we all retire. And it is 27 years old, and we so desperately needed it. Our holiday parties were always big and classy. And I always knew, and staff knew, when you said, "What do you want now?" that was an invitation to come talk to you and solve whatever was going on. Your career was challenging and rewarding, and we're also privileged to have worked alongside you. And now we can continue to give the best care to our families in this beautiful new wing.
Sure, would you like to come up and say a
Sure.
the plaque?
Well, thank you, Dr. Rankin. Welcome to all of our distinguished guests and colleagues who are here today. Thank you to the chairman of the obstetrics department and Dr. Solano for being the advocate for these changes that we have to support the women and families who do receive their care at Metrowest Medical Center. This is really an improvement to make sure that we have a separate space for those who are coming in for their outpatient care, separated from those women who are in labor. I think this is a great improvement. And again, thank you to the dedicated staff and physicians who make sure that we deliver excellent care here. As we talk to other colleagues, Dr. Rankin, you are remembered fondly and thanked for all of the work that you have done for them. I hear it from academic medical centers and your invites that you provided to some of those colleagues. They talk about you as a legend here living in Metro West. So thank you for all of your service and leadership that you provided to Metro West.
This is going to be hung, on that wall. We're supposed to be very careful. I'm going to hold it like we
I'm Susan Nickel, and I'm here today to represent Senate President Karen Spilka. She is sorry that she can't be here. Those of you who know her know that one of her passions, not just a priority, is access to health care, whether that's physical or emotional. So she asked me to come here today, and I'm particularly glad she did, just from a personal standpoint. I live just on the other side of the pond. I'm a little bit turned around where the pond is, but I look up at the third floor of this building all the time, so it'll have special meaning for me now as well. So let me present this to you, Dr. Solano. She asked me to bring official state Senate official citation. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Metrowest Medical Center in recognition of the joyous occasion of the grand opening of the Joel S. Rankin Outpatient Maternal Care Unit. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that the citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate. It is signed by the Senate President, Karen Spilka, who also happens to be the senator for this district, so it's double signed by her, but she wanted to make sure you had this for this occasion. So thank you.
And so we would be honored to have Joel and Verna come up and do the ribbon cut. What? And so those who spoke are invited to be behind the. Gotta come around, Joel.
Before you cut, I'm going to take 3 or 4 shots. Everybody, we'll go 1, 2, 3. Get your shots.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We cannot see you. Yeah, it's better.
All right, so you all know each other. Get together like you know each other. If you can't see the camera can't see you.
Just hold it. There you go.
They're persistent balloons.
All right, doctor, here we go. On the count of 1, 2, and 3.
So we have some refreshments in the childbirth ed. I would invite anyone to come and take a look at the space as well. I really thank everyone for coming. This is a huge turnout. Thank you guys so much. And thanks to Dr. Rankin.
Take that weapon. Take the weapon away.
Yeah.